It's a bit cheeky using this phrase, but Tyson is the best boxing foreplayer in the business. Usyk's clever enough, if he's boxed you once, he's got your number. But it's too late now, because Usyk knows what to expect, and Tyson's fighting on emotion, he's fighting on anger, like Tyson wants all his opponents to do, and he's going to try and put it on him. That's why he's coming in heavier.
Charlotte Daly on MailSport Boxing, joined by Johnny Nelson. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm just getting over these comfy chairs, so if I nod off, I apologise.
Well, we want to talk to you about the Usyk Fury rematch. Now, the first fight was unbelievable. I think it succeeded expectations. Can the second fight live up to expectations?
That and more, I believe. I think the things that were said in the build-up to the first fight, obviously by Tyson Fury, it helped sell the fight. It helped build the fight. And Tyson Fury, you don't know if he's been the showman, if he's been Tyson Fury. And then the way the fight turned out, it kind of, well, we'll go through the fight itself. The fight itself, myself personally, I thought Tyson Fury had everything about him to beat Oleksandr Usyk, but I actually didn't realise how intelligent, smart, hungry Usyk was. And maybe how complacent Tyson had got to actually perform the way he did in the fight. I'm thinking, why would you try and play the fool to catch the wise in this fight? You know, be you. You know, use everything that's got you here in the first place. Massive mistake. I thought he'd probably learn that lesson from the Ngannou fight, but obviously not. So that fight, it had everything. Both fighters were hurt. I've never seen Usyk hurt so much. Never seen Tyson hurt so much. Both fighters had to go through the ups and downs of the fight. The first time we've seen Tyson in such trouble, even though he was out cold on his back against Wilder, in such trouble, he was staggered. He was gone. You know, he was lumbering around the ring, and Usyk dogged him. He just wouldn't leave him alone. And fortunately, the referee jumped in and gave him the count, and then the fight carried on. But Tyson's got an amazing recovery skills. And again, the fight is never over till it's over. And that's why that fight was so exciting. A lot was made out of what was said in the corner and the noises and the voice in the corner. I don't blame that. I just don't think you can pin it on that, the result on that, because obviously when Daniel Dubois boxed and his father was doing it and it's successful, it's not a problem. But so why would it be a problem when Tyson's dad's doing it? So I dismiss all of that. I'm quite sure. His dad's always done that. I can remember I sparred with Tyson at the back of my career, and Tyson came in the gym and it wasn't going his way, and his dad was shouting and screaming at him then, and Tyson had the grace to be able to stop in the middle of sparring and turn around to his dad and say, "Shut up, you get here and do it." So they're both arguing. I'm like, hello. So what I saw with his dad is nothing new. So I just think the fight, you saw the best of the best getting in there, and I expect it to be round 13.
Yeah, you started that by talking about the fact that the build-up, Tyson had a lot to say in the build-up to it. That's always been one of his kind of plans before a fight. We saw it against Klitschko, the mind games started. He wasn't able to get into Usyk's head. Do you think that threw him a little bit, the fact that he's been able to almost win the battle before he's even got into the ring before, but this time he couldn't?
Completely. It's a bit cheeky using this phrase, but Tyson is the best boxing foreplayer in the business, and he gets into the head of so many of his opponents because he'll play the fool to catch the wise. He'll play the bully. He'll play the best friend. He'll play a character to get into the psyche of the opponent, and I've seen Tyson's career, how he works on opponents. If someone's a threat and a handful, it'll be his mate. If someone he thinks you're dangerous, but I've got to get in your face, I'm going to show you a bit of discreet respect. I'm going to shout and ball at you. With Usyk, the problem was it was all lost in translation. And maybe it wasn't lost in translation and Usyk was being brilliant and pretending he couldn't understand what he was saying. And he stayed stony-faced. You remember the build-up to the fight when they started head-to-head in the stand-up, and Usyk stood his ground. And I think that showed frustration from Tyson, because Tyson realised his words were not as effective as he wanted them to be. So he wanted to use his physicality to say, if you don't understand what I'm saying, you understand what I'm doing. And Usyk, again, silence was deadly.
Yeah.
He's saying nothing was so powerful for him. And so and the insults that were thrown out, maybe to sell the fight, but some things you're saying, you think you can't take back. You're putting your head on the chopping block, and that's what Tyson was kind of doing. Calling him every name under the sun. But remember, if you win, it's great. But if you lose. People will remind you of what you said, and remind you of how much you dismissed this little jumped up middleweight, and remind you of all of that. So that's why I think it's affected the demeanour of Tyson for this fight.
Yeah, we actually caught up with Usyk last week, and he was telling us that before the first fight, he read Tyson Fury's autobiographies to try and get kind of more of an insight into the way that his mind works. So I guess maybe that as well, people don't really understand that Usyk is obviously really going into the psyche of Tyson Fury and knows that potentially he's doing it as a wind-up or so on. But I found that quite interesting.
I'm from a gym of that culture. That's what our gym was about. Sometimes you might get in the ring with someone that's a lot technically better than you, but if you can get in their mind, you can get in their head, get them to hate you, get them to love you, get them to dismiss you, you've got them. And our gym, that's what our gym grew. And so when you're saying that about Usyk, I totally get it. Because if you look at the character of a fighter on and off, in and out of the ring, that can tell you so much about that individual. I remember when Sugar Leonard lost to Roberto Duran the first fight, and Roberto Duran, he was partying, he spent 6 months drinking and celebrating his win. And Sugar Leonard was rushing to get the rematch as quick as he can because he wanted to get him at his weakest because he knew he'd not lived a life. So you've got to understand the fighting is not just when the bell goes. The fight starts a long, long time before even the promotion goes. And so right now there's some young gun looking at Oleksandr Usyk called Tyson Fury thinking, I'm plotting and planning for you now. Yeah. I'm understanding what you're about. I'm getting your number, and that's the fight game.
Yeah, you could even see that with Usyk, that he is an athlete in and out of camps, because straight after the Tyson Fury fight, he was doing that crazy cycle and doing all those things. So he obviously is an athlete. But talking of fitness and stamina, there's a lot of talk about Tyson Fury's weight now going into the rematch, and whether he'll come in heavier and try and use his weight and height advantage to kind of lean on Usyk. Do you think that benefits Tyson Fury, or do you think actually that will benefit Usyk in the later rounds because of the fact that he does have that fitness and stamina?
Well, unfortunately for Tyson, Usyk's clever enough. If he's boxed you once, he's got your number.
Yeah.
And Tyson, my old trainer Brendan calls it 3 smart. Tyson was 3 smart. He outsmarted himself. He thought he'd get in there and outbox Usyk, beat this best boxer in the world at his own game, and he realised that wasn't working. And he took Usyk to the brink, but Usyk then got the measure of him, got the strength of him, got the movement of him, got the fitness levels of him, got it all in that. He downloaded the blueprint for Tyson Fury. Now, and that's exactly what he did with Anthony Joshua. So the first fight, he's got the measure of him, and he's got the win. So now he understands what's coming on, and Tyson will probably try and do the same thing what Anthony Joshua did in the second fight, what he should have done in the first fight, which was use his physicality, put it on him, surprise him. But it's too late now, because Usyk knows what to expect, and Tyson's fighting on emotion, he's fighting on anger, like Tyson wants all his opponents to do, and he's going to try and put it on him. That's why he's coming in heavier. That's why he's coming in bigger. He wants to go in there thinking, I'm not letting this jumped up middleweight knock me out. I've put weight on. I'm big. If he couldn't do it then, he's not going to do it now. This is his mindset. That doesn't mean Usyk won't be able to outbox him, outfox him, outmove him, out everything him. And it's the shots you don't see coming that cause the problems. And so with Tyson coming in heavier, to me, it tells me so much. It tells me Tyson's, going to try and use his physicality, which he should have done in the first fight. It tells me that he thinks he'll be able to absorb the shots a lot more, like he didn't in the first fight. So it tells me the intention, but it also tells Usyk the intention as well.
Yeah. Now, to kind of compensate with that weight gain, we spoke to Usyk about the weird and wonderful training methods that he has, incorporating wrestling, jiu-jitsu, holding his breath underwater, all these sorts of things to try and position himself in the best way possible to combat anything that Tyson throws at him. You also had weird and wonderful training methods. You brought up Brendan earlier. He had you going into prisons and sparring prisoners. What was that like, and how do these weird types of training help build a boxer?
Because boxing, you go in the gym, you hit the bag, you hit the pad, you spar. You go in the gym, you hit the bags, you hit the pads, you spar, and that's it. So you've got to be able to be prepared for the things you're not usually prepared for in the gym when it comes to fight time. When Brendan used to make us go to the prisons, and it wasn't just prisons, but the prisons were probably the best outlet. You had prisoners that had nothing to do, and all they could do was train for you for 6 months, and they'd spend £1 a week out of their prison money to go to a charity, and then their job was to get in the ring with us. Brendan would always said to us when we were in the gym around the back, and all the prisoners would be there paying for their cellmate, and so it was full of prisoners there. And the screws are watching the prisoners. The prisoners are at the other side. It's their Rocky moment. They're thinking, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get Johnny Nelson. I'm going to get Harold Graham. I'm going to get Herbie Hyde. And Brendan always said to us, the worst people to fight are the people that don't know how to fight. Because you don't know if they're going to use a jab, a right hand, two hands, a left hook, a right hook from the wrong stance. So if you can fight people like that, then you can fight anybody. And the crux of the matter was, we were never allowed to hit him back. Yeah. And that was the deal. You cannot hit him back. You've got to move out of the way. You've got to tap him. You've got to let him slip. And it was the discipline of the unknown that prepared you for everything. So when we got in there with the conventional fight, there was nothing that would surprise us. So when a fighter switched southpaw to orthodox, it made nothing to us. And Usyk doing that, he's doing the same. He's preparing himself for every possible scenario that Tyson Fury is going to bring to him. So it's not a shock. It's a shock to everybody else. And that it's an art that is actually ignored. It's an art that's actually people just don't do because they don't do it because they think to themselves, well, I don't need to, or they're not prepared for it.
Yeah. So he's obviously then building your boxing IQ by doing those sessions, and both Tyson and Usyk are known for good boxing IQs. Who do you think pips it? Is it Usyk?
Depends what you're looking at. If you're looking at the history of our game, I think Tyson Fury is an unbelievable boxing historian. Trust me, he plays the fool to catch the wise many times. And when he's being interviewed, you'll see him turn. His respect will turn or grow for the interviewer to see what he actually knows. And you're not even educating him. It's like, all right, and just leave it at that. So when it comes to the boxing history of our sport, I'd say Tyson. But when it comes to the art of our sport at this stage in their career, I say Usyk. Remember, Usyk and Lomachenko publicly said they looked at fights from our gym in Sheffield and they mimicked that, and they were told off by their trainers because the style wasn't it wasn't an orthodox style, and it was a style that you always got penalised for. But then you look at two of the most technically gifted fighters that the world has seen, and in Lomachenko and in Usyk, and it works. Yeah. So it might be wrong, but he gets the right results.
Yeah. Well, moving on slightly now to where we're at in the present day. Obviously, Tyson has experienced his first loss. What is that like from your own experience? And because you had it quite badly with fans turning on you, what is that experience like? And do you think that fans are too quick to turn?
Well, I think my career was upside down. I started a losing turn and ended up being a winner, whereas Tyson Fury, as a professional fighter, he's always been on the winning side. And the fans have grown to love him. Now he's tasted defeat. And you can get to a stage when you're a champion that you start to believe in your own hype. And that was one thing we were always taught, never believe in the good or the bad they say about you in the paper, because they don't know you personally. You've just done a good job. So I think it's got to the stage where Tyson presents the image that he believes in his own hype. And when you do that, you think it's a God-given gift that you're going to do it no matter what. And Prince Nassim Hamid, one of the country's greatest fighters, he got to a point where he believed in his own hype. He actually believed he was a prince. He actually believed he didn't have to work as hard as the next man to get the win. And he found that out when he boxed Barrera. And that's what we saw with Tyson Fury. He had the gypsies warning when he boxed Ngannou. He thought, I've got this piece of cake. And he was lucky to get the nod. And so that was the sign. And so getting in there with Usyk, having to be humbled, and I saw how it's humbled him, because the Tyson Fury that's usually loud and brash and in your face, and he's the one that steals. Remember, we were across the road in Siam Park when he was watching Klitschko and he came in dressed as Batman. I remember, and I remember being out there in Germany when he boxed him, and he caused so much mayhem. He was loud, the whole team were loud. He did it. This time, he was like a quiet mouse. And he was like a quiet mouse because he understood this guy has my number. So therefore, no matter what I say, no matter what I do, is going to make no difference. And I could tell he was humbled. Remember, Usyk walked in with a briefcase, dressed like the Men in Black, and the glasses on. He stole the gimmick and he pulled a picture out. And on the pitch, it was a shot of Tyson and Usyk, where Usyk got the beautiful shot and got him to sign it. And Tyson signed it. I'm like, is he not? He's not going to sign that. And he signed it, and he tried to smile it off and laugh it off, and I thought, wow, that took a lot. Because if you're a fighter and you believe you're the best fighter in the world, and I'm telling you from experience, I believed I was the best fighter in the world. So therefore, if I lost to someone, I knew there was somebody that was out there that could beat me. Tyson Fury now knows he doesn't think. He knows he's not the best fighter in the world, and that can affect your ego, your confidence, your self-belief. If you become accustomed to that, that day comes eventually, and for Tyson, it's having to deal with that mental side of it, as well as actually losing, and it's understanding. It's a massive difference. Doesn't matter what anybody says to you, it makes a massive difference to your psyche.
He's obviously going to come into this next fight more serious because of the fact that he's sustained his first loss, and he was clowning around at points in the fight. But obviously he needs to be more switched on. But the best Tyson is the Tyson that enjoys himself, and the Tyson that does have a little bit of, not showboating, but a bit of fun in the ring. Do you think if he's too serious, he risks going the other way?
I do. I think he's now made for Usyk. Absolutely made for him. Any orthodox fighter was made for Tyson Fury, and he came up against an unorthodox fighter in Oleksandr Usyk, and vice versa. Now Tyson Fury, he goes in there as an orthodox fighter to try and bully and beat Oleksandr Usyk. He had one chance to do that. That chance is gone. Usyk's got his number, and I think now he'll be made for Usyk.
So is that your prediction then? If we were to get a prediction for you now ahead of the fight, what do you see unfolding?
I see Tyson Fury making the job easier for Usyk, even though I thought Tyson Fury would beat Usyk the first time round. And I thought that because of what he had naturally. But now he's told Usyk, he's shown Usyk, he's given Usyk everything he needs. So I'd side towards Oleksandr Usyk to pickpocket him.